Musik mal ein bisschen leiser. Also, heute, Freunde der Sonne, gibt es den nächsten Anno Dev Stream. Den nächsten Anno Dev Stream. Einfach rein hier. Oh, der Stream ist live. Oh mein Gott, der Stream ist live. 3 Minuten vor der Zeit. Ja. Wow. Baldur's Gate zocke ich nicht, ne. Ich bin anorolich unterwegs. Der Flash, Dankeschön für die Bits nachher immer. Notebert Rainer. So, erstmal Musik muten. Hört ihr das? Das ist die süße Musik. Die süße Musik. Ah! 2 Minuten noch. Und der Flash holt sich das Level ab. Let's go. Der Flash holt sich hier das Level up ab. Geil. $200.000 Bits. Holy shit. 200.000 Bits. So. Freunde der Sonne, zu diesen wunderschönen ätherischen Klängen geht es gleich rein in einen Anno-Dev-Stream. Grüße gehen raus an YouTube und natürlich auch an den Cutter Bobbyloben, Hashtag Bobbyloben und so. Wir gehen jetzt gleich rein in einen Anno-Entwickler-Stream und schauen uns an, was uns da Neues präsentiert wird. Das Ganze wird selbstverständlich auch schön und im Detail auseinandergepflückt und analysiert. In 1 Minute geht's los. Ich bin schon sehr gespannt, was uns da gezeigt wird. Immer rein. Immer rein. Ich bin echt gespannt, was uns heute erwartet, ne? Es war ja nur gesagt, dass wir heute Neuigkeiten bekommen. Dass wir heute Neuigkeiten bekommen. Bin sehr gespannt. Sehr, sehr, sehr gespannt. Gut.
Dann so kleiner als 3.
Let's go. Krischtine, Dankeschön für die 100 Bits. Einfach rein. Ja, im Übrigen natürlich auch an den Chat, falls ihr irgendetwas nicht verstehen solltet in der englischen Sprache hier, dann sagt gern Bescheid, ne? Sagt gern Bescheid. Ach, Armiger Franz.
Sehr merkwürdig.
Dankeschön für den 14. Monat. Vielen Dank für die Unterstützung. Und auch von die im 23. mit dem T3. Let's go. Einfach rein da. Ich werde jetzt mal für die Zeit des Death-Streams die Alerts pausieren, damit wir hier auch alles mitbekommen und danach wieder anschmeißen. Und gleich geht es los. Oh, ich will den Soundtrack haben. Ey, ist so herrlich, dieser Soundtrack, ne? Ist das geil. Ist das geil. Anno Pax Romana. Es geht um Optional Needs, Attributes und Building Buffs. Oha! Oha!
Hello everyone and welcome to another Anno livestream. It's the first one of 2025, but certainly will not be the last. I'm Oliver. I'm the community developer on Anno. You might have seen me before. And with me today I have 2 guests, one familiar face and one new one. First, Jan, our game director, and then Manu, you've seen him before, our creative director.
Hello.
And as announced, I got my handy slides here. We'll talk about optional needs.
Okay, lauter Kries nicht.
And we talk about building buffs and what exactly that is. You'll learn in the next roughly 60 minutes or so. Quick reminder that we've just announced the big gameplay reveal is in the week of May 19th.
Genau, Gameplay
Meaning
Reveal
we're not
im Mai.
revealing big gameplay here. We're talking about what do you call it? Very nerdy stuff.
Today it's all about nerdy stuff. We're going really deep into the
Geil,
core
heute
of
Nerd-Stuff,
the
freue ich mich.
So we talk a bit or really about some other like really cool like changes to features and new features today. We brought some screenshots, so we're not just talking. We have some visualizations. Don't worry, but just to set the expectations, we're talking about nerdy game design stuff essentially.
Oh, bin ich gespannt, ey.
I feel before we dive into the topic itself, now we have both of you here. I think it would be cool if you could give people a quick overview, like what is your role and how do you split the work between you, game director, creative director? What does that mean?
Sure. So, hello, I'm Manuel Reinier, creative director on
Hallo,
ANNO,
Manuel.
and, my role is to come up with a strong and compelling vision, in particular at the beginning of the project, then also to talk about it and rally everyone behind this. And that's also something I do not do alone. So there are people like Jan working very closely with me, but also, of course, other team members from the ANNO team. And we're trying to set up a strong identity for the
Also
next
er ist der
title at the
Kreativchef.
beginning. Also, we set some strategic goals that we follow. And then also I try to make sure together with the team that we end up there at release of the game.
Yeah, cool. So hello, my name is Jan Dungel and I'm game director on the brand. So as Manuel mentioned, we work closely together on the
Dankeschön für die Follows. Willkommen,
strategy of the game. As my background is more like game design background, I also like focus on how we translate this strategy.
Ich bin schon so gespannt, ne, was wir heute an News bekommen.
Principles, and it's all about the game experience and how to put actually these parts together, make the game fun, and make sure that we can actually deliver it also in the team.
Yeah, and we talk about both angles today, I would say. Like we talk a bit about both like what's the idea behind these things, but also then how exactly does it work, right? So this is kind of the idea of today's
Ich hoffe, ihr könnt es jetzt gut verstehen. Ich habe es halt schon maximal aufgedreht.
Questions on there's also one request to increase the volume a bit.
Ja, das wäre schön.
Thank you, Darius. I occasionally have a look on the chat that I hear.
War der Anno-Stream angekündigt?
So
Ja.
I'll pick some questions
Der war
here.
angekündigt.
The thing is, we'll obviously focus on the topics today. So if you ask questions about
Da gab's
what is it here? Ground units, etc. I'm like, this is not a topic for today. We're talking about these 3 topics. If you have any questions on these topics, I'm happy to pick them up and forward them to these lovely gentlemen. But everything else will have to wait for another day. All right, then. Yeah, I would say, let's get into it.
Let's talk optional needs.
Quick recap or like overview before we step into what optional needs are. What are needs? You know them from basically all ANNO games, right? So your residents will require all kinds of goods or public services. You need to supply them. You need to give them fish. They might want bread. They might want beer. They want a church. All these things are classified as needs. So these are the things you fulfill. And if you fulfill enough needs of the needs of a population tier can be upgraded to the next one, and the fun begins anew. So this is the central progression for any ANNO game.
Also es wird sich an der Progression nichts ändern.
So this is how the needs work, and the question is now, seems to be that worked quite well.
Yes.
So why are we changing things? What was the goal
Nein, was?
behind
Es wird noch mehr geändert.
changing this system?
So first of all, we think the core of ANNO is really healthy and what we have established that really works. So there was also not a need to dramatically change something. But still, we wanted to apply some of the learnings that we identified or collected during the older ANNOs.
Ich schätze mal, Einfluss wird abgeschafft, wäre meine Vermutung.
117 packs from ANNO is that we want to bring choices to the player to break a little bit the linearity that you have. So when you think about a traditional ANNO, usually you need to fulfill certain steps in a certain order to proceed in the game. And this leads to some issues for some of the players. Complexity, for example. Yeah, sometimes in 1800, for example, we forced you at some point to go to the new world, or if you don't do this, the progression has stopped. So this is one thing that we wanted to tackle. And the other thing is also, during the long support of ANNO 1800, we also had some struggles to add new exciting content.
Zeigen Sie heute Gameplay? Nein.
So
Gameplay Reveal ist im Mai
for
angekündigt.
example, to add new production chains to the building.
Heute gibt es Nerd-Infos zu Zufriedenheitsgütern und
so this was basically the goal
Building
and once we defined it, Jan and his team
kein Gameplay heute.
To came up with a good solution.
Außer vielleicht ein paar Snippets. Aber richtiger Gameplay Reveal ist im Mai.
Yeah, I think that I can even a little bit follow on this. So in Anno 1800, for example, when we
Heute mit
released the
Gameplay,
Arctic,
nee.
it was very,
Heute
very hard to integrate
Nerd-Stuff.
these Arctic goods into the existing provinces. Yeah, so we because you just upgraded all the buildings, there was not really strong reason to have them. Yeah. And in Lens of Lions, if you remember, for those who played the Lens of Lions,
unsere
we then
Challenge
had
letztens.
to even create a completely new
In
tier,
NBESA.
which was the scholars, and the scholars then they did the research and so on. So basically, we had to always completely do something from the scratch, which led to quite overwhelming and bigger game. Yeah?
So good, hey.
We felt like we want to have actually the needs better integrated, and that was also like one of the key reasons why we actually did this endeavor and why we tried to change
But
it.
we had a bit of a sneaky thing in 1800 when we introduced the lifestyle needs, which were like yet another category, which then got extended. So this is like, I think people will find, okay, there's some connection, or at least some mental connection, right?
Bin
when
gleich
we're
gespannt,
then
was
talking
uns
about
hier
the
gezeigt
optional
wird. Das
topics.
wird jetzt erstmal nur
I would say since you
angeteasert.
brought some examples,
Yes.
we can actually look at the
Let's go.
very first one.
Es geht rein.
Just to visualize what Jan just said in a bit more, and
Okay,
Manus
was ist
just
das?
said in a bit more.
Sein Haus.
Yeah, images basically. So, what are we looking at? We're looking at the tier 1, but early concept.
It's a very
building.
early concept art. So we collected everything that we have here in the studio to create those slides for you. And yeah, should I take it or
so I know I can follow it. So if you press and so this is the very early residence.
Fische, Arbeitskleidung,
In
Markt.
Anno 1800,
Schnaps.
that's what you see on the left. The needs were quite linear. It was actually the needs which you have to fulfill in order, and you have to fulfill all of them in order to upgrade. Yeah, so it was basically.
Ja, aber Schnaps ist
Schnaps
ja nicht
you
Upgrade.
to the higher tier.
Ist ja nur
And
basic
there was
optional.
not that much reason to come back to this or stretch it. And we want to do something a bit different, and maybe you want to
Bin ich gespannt.
go into that.
No, because the first thing that we now introduce with Anno 117 Pax Romana is that there will be categories. So you're not fulfilling a single dedicated need, but you have categories. And what you see on the right side, for example, at the beginning of the game, there's one category where it's all about is food. Then we have another category which is called, do we call it fashion?
Fashion,
right
yeah,
now,
fashion,
yes.
yeah.
Okay, man hat
Yeah,
mehr
and also
Auswahl.
in public buildings, as you see. And each of these categories, they have 2 needs. And yeah.
Yeah, and that's what is different. So the idea is here that actually this category, they offer you 2 options. And these options it's actually up to you if you want to deliver just one need, or actually if you want to do both needs. So, for example, in the first case, this is like that you can deliver the sardines and or porridge.
Okay, man kann sich also entscheiden, was
enough,
man
actually to just deliver
erfüllt.
one of them from each
Nur eins von
category in
zwei.
order to upgrade. And that gives this kind of basic flexibility that you don't have to do all the needs like a homework. But we also keep it beneficial to deliver all of them.
Yes, because we know that a bigger chunk of you guys who are really into Anno, you really want to build everything and max out everything. So also this will have positive effects. We come to this later, but this was really important for us.
Okay,
so
das
it's
heißt,
not about,
zum Upgraden
removing
muss man nur
complexity
eines der
totally.
beiden Sachen
It's about
erfüllen.
having the option
Man
for you
kriegt aber
to
auch
either at some point go all in or,
Vorteile, wenn man
in some
alles
other areas,
versorgt.
go
Also
with,
Vollversorger werden auch
a simpler option.
einen Vorteil haben. Sexy,
And now
baby.
we promised you we bring
Sexy!
some screenshots as well. So there you go. We have
Schaut das geil
a
aus.
lovely little settlement over there with
Will
some
das spielen.
tier 1 Liberty residences. And you can see now that you're visualizing basically what you've just seen,
Ich will das spielen.
the categories.
I think that on this picture, what is important that you can see that we have two different colors for the bars. So what you see is actually it's a very first category which is expanded, and then you can see below the fish and porridge, and the overall category is golden. And it's golden because it means that you delivered all the needs which were actually in this category. While if you would just deliver one need, either the fish or porridge, it would be green.
Yeah, but I only built a marketplace, so that's why there's only this,
Yeah.
only one green in the public service.
Okay, man sieht also hier schon,
Is that the green bar
goldener
means
Balken,
it's
beides
still
versorgt.
enough to upgrade. So and the other one is
Grüner Balken nur eins versorgt,
Yes,
aber wenn
exactly.
alle Balken grün sind, kann man
We
schon
have another
upgraden.
example how this looks like in a higher tier.
Yeah, let me just quickly jump into, because chat is very hotly debating the military topic. Guys, we did not rule out military in any way. In fact, Manu just showed off ships and the ship modules with everything out there. This is just not, today is not the time we talk about anything like this. We're not talking about many other topics today either. We're not talking about diplomacy either. We're talking very specifically about these topics. So don't worry, we'll absolutely answer many, many more questions. Many actually also with the gameplay reveal in May, what we said at the beginning of the stream. We'll reveal a lot more information and obviously gameplay, and then much more afterwards. So don't worry, there's a lot of stuff still to come. We're just doing nerdy needs, attributes, topics today. This is just for that. All right, I hope this calms down things a bit. Thank you very much. Sorry, Manu.
Good. But here now we're looking at an example how this will now continue in the game, and the further you progress. So now we see once again here the categories from the first tier, and how does this now evolve? Maybe Jan, you can tell us a bit more about it.
And what you see here is actually another tier, which is we called plebeians. And what you see here, there are all these old needs actually, which were introduced with the Liberty in the previous level. So you see once again sardines and the porridge. But now there are also another two needs in that food category, and you see that there is a bread, and it was quite common, actually good. It's called garum, which is kind of smelly fish sauce. I never tasted it, but
Davon sind viele
it was
gestorben.
there. And that actually introduces that the
schlechter
plebeians
Garum.
have a bit deeper appetites. They just not into the porridge and sardines. You need to offer something more, and you need to once again at least deliver one of these needs. And then you see it also in the other two categories, which were already introduced with liberties. So in the fashion, also in the category of public buildings.
Yes, but each new civilization tier here also has a new category that you need to fulfill. Here in this case, for example, you see.
Also
there's
da bleibt
household,
alles beim
as a
Alten.
category,
Jede neue Stufe
and,
Einwohner
people are
kriegt
demanding
nochmal
either olive oil
eine
or
Anforderungskategorie
amphoras,
mehr. Es wird
very,
immer komplexer.
trendy in antiquity.
Yeah.
Aber dieses System bleibt, dass du immer nur eine bestimmte Anzahl an
alright, so
Sachen
this is
dir auswählen
basically-
kannst. Du musst
We
nicht
can see
alles
this is
versorgen.
the spread over the category, so this is what I think when we're going
Absolut
back to
gar
what you
nicht,
said earlier
Jerry.
about
Absolut gar
always
nicht.
add new population tiers,
Anno
it
ist
was
in keinem
complicated
Verhältnis
needs.
zu
Now
einem
you can see
Assassin's
really
Creed oder
the
so.
categories can be expanded by just adding
Also
more
es
needs
ist kein
and obviously more categories
Flagship-Titel,
as well,
wenn man
but
so will.
it's flexible, what we
Yeah,
mentioned.
and this
at
is
the
also a
beginning.
good opportunity for you as a player, because this allows you also to later go back to early tiers.
Es wird
and
auf
try
jeden
to
Fall
fulfill
Ubisoft
more needs
nicht
for them
retten
to
und
explore
auch
different
nicht
things
ins
and so on.
Verderben stürzen, egal wie
it's
es
way
ausgeht.
more flexible and a way more modular system.
Dafür ist Anno
compared
zu nischig.
to the previous Annos.
Yeah, I
Im
think
Großen
the
und
main thing
Ganzen.
is that we can even in further
In der
incorporate the
Aufbauspielbranche
needs
ist es
into
natürlich
that
ein
category.
absolutes
So
Mammut
what it
von
is
einem
about-
Spiel.
And here,
Aber
as also on
Aufbauspiele
the
sind
picture,
halt
you can
nicht-
see, like, how does it look in the object menu.
nicht so groß.
Then you see actually there is a bread and there is also garum on top. And the bar is already green, even the part of the bar is actually
Oh mein
golden.
Gott,
That
das schaut
means
so
that
gut
it's enough
aus.
to upgrade.
Das schaut so gut aus.
Yeah, and you can see I didn't build a
Azumir hat das
Public Service
geändert,
Building
nicht
yet, that's why
wirklich.
this is
Es
not
ist
quite
natürlich ein großer Erfolg
Public Service,
gewesen, aber wenn du es vergleichst mit Spielerzahlen von Assassin's Creed oder so,
Alright,
es ist
so
halt
this
immer
was
noch.
basically the option needs we already touched on. Basically on the topic of what's in it for the player, but if you wanna basically summarize it again, like what is the key takeaway for people that just watched you talk? What is the key takeaway for them?
Yeah, I mean, it offers choices for you. So it's up to you if you go for min supply or max supplies, and all of this will have an impact. So it's really
Es wäre
important
halt noch
to
gut zu
understand
wissen,
we don't
welchen Impact das
compromise
hat.
on the scope of the game. There's a lot of things that you can do, and it was not the intention to make the game necessarily easier and so on. So it's really a choice that you have along the way, and you can always go back and change certain things.
Ich habe jetzt einfach mal die Frage reingebuttert.
And yeah, and so we really want to still also staying true to the Anno DNA and
Wäre halt witzig zu sehen, was es bringt, mehr zu versorgen, ne? Was der Vorteil ist.
Something we tested, and yeah, I think later on when we go into the summary, we can also tell you a bit more about that.
Yeah. And let me quickly jump in before you take over, Jan, for the next one, because I think there were some questions now that were related directly to the last
Yeah,
section.
sure.
So let me just check here and go back a bit. they love the choices. They love being able to pick between two. I've seen some comments like this. I love the freedom of choice, says Katrin. Can't wait to play. So beautiful, says Cassie. So also obviously we showed some screenshots.
Lieutenant Daniel.
There's a question. What happens if you can't fulfill a previous need but still have enough supply for the tier 2 stuff? So basically you fulfill a tier 2 need, but you don't have enough for the tier 1 need anymore for the tier 2 building.
Well, you need to find out it's enough. That would be the answer. I don't want to go actually into much details. There is more behind that, and there will be a way for you to understand if it's enough or not. It's about the ratio systems, yeah. So, if you have, let's say, maybe just concrete answer to that. If you have both needs of the level 2, then you don't need the needs of the level 1 in order to upgrade. But they are still beneficial.
Das heißt, man kann upgraden in Level 2, wenn man 2 Sachen von Level 2 erfüllt. Du brauchst nicht die ganze Zeit das Level 1 Need zu erfüllen. Also da auch wieder ähnlich zu Anno 1800. Es ist halt ein bisschen flexibler, aber im Endeffekt gleich. Und man kann auch die Versorgung wieder stoppen. Geil.
They're writing so much, it's hard to keep track.
Das heißt, man kann auch wieder Sachen horten und dann alles auf einmal upgraden.
Oh man, sorry, I need to rephrase that a bit. The tier 2 needs minimal 1 from tier 1 and 1 need from tier 2 in order to upgrade, or just 1 from tier 2?
It's enough to have 1 of tier 2.
But okay. As we said, we didn't want to go too nerdy, but I guess you need more than just the tier 1, tier 2 need to upgrade residents from tier 2 to tier 3.
We can maybe even explain it if you want, because it's on the screenshot. If we want to go, because it's a little bit now getting a little bit tricky. And so what you see in the screenshot, it's actually if you there are the supplies or ratios. So if you see the fish is just 1 tile of the bar, and the porridge is only 1 tile of the bar. What you need to get in tier 2 is basically to fulfill 3. So if you just deliver
Tier
fish
2
and porridge, you will just have 2.
Braucht man
but the bread
3.
does 2, and the garum does 2. So it means that even half bread will make you into the upgrade, even if you're not delivered. And basically the needs, as you progress, they satisfying the population more and more. But that also
Gibt auf jeden Fall auch schon von Release ab einen Downgrade-Button, ist auch interessant zu sehen.
In order to do the upgrade.
Okay, I think that answers it. Yeah. Some more. Radlerauge asked if optional needs will bring more inhabitants, and I would say we answered it in a few minutes. What that does. Will there be disruptive needs that would require you to change your city layout eventually? I mean,
I think maybe we should continue in the presentation and then we maybe get closer to this question.
Let me quickly check, but I think we can move on.
Ja, ich will wissen, was es mir bringt.
Will these? Oh, okay. This might be still interesting. Will this new need system remove the needs, happiness needs? I think they're referring to from 1800 that were nice to have but not needed.
Not. Yeah, they will be replaced. There will be just the new system.
Yes. Kein Zufriedenheitsstuff mehr.
This basically does the same thing insofar as that you don't need to fulfill it, but there's a big bonus, depending. But there's a bonus if you do, and I think this is exactly what we're tapping into with the next one. So Jan, the question is, what we just said. We're like, okay, you can fulfill more, and then you have a nice golden bar, but is it just shiny, or do I get something else for it?
So that's something what actually we will now show you. So the idea is actually that these needs will deliver certain attributes, certain quality to your population.
Attribute.
And I think that actually in past annos, this is also quite normal. Because, for example, if you show the very first attribute, what we will have, well, it's money. And money. It's about money. So I don't have to explain what the money does, but of course, certain needs, and a lot of them, actually you can generate the money. Some of the needs might generate more money, some might generate less money or even no money, but the money is one of these attributes.
The next one is population. Also something we also had in older annos, and it's something that of course we want to keep, quite natural, and it's a good fit.
Yeah, it's also about the workforce, the population, which was introduced in 2205 and it was in anno 1800. So you need the population to work on typically farms and mines and so on.
And then maybe we are starting to scratch the surface where we did some changes and so on. But in general, we really tried with the new system also to make those attributes more transparent. Because in ANNO, in the older ANNOs, yes, most of the people knew how to generate money or population. But with some other attributes that we had in the game, they were somehow under the radar. And that's also something where we try to unify the system and create more transparency. So the next attribute is
Happiness.
It's happiness, yes. Smiley face is happiness. So you rather having your people happy, otherwise it can be a problem. But what is maybe different is like that if you remember in Anno 1800 or it was not that specifically explained.
6 Monate
what exactly does happiness or maybe the happiness was the better one, but with fires or something like that. That
and
was
fire is a good thing because here now we have fire and health. These are also, I mean, you know it also from older ANNOs. Also
Malta,
here.
cheers.
I mean, think about Rome. A good fire is part of Rome. So we,
Ein gutes Feuer in Rom, ja.
By Game and
Brandgefahr, ich sag nur Nero.
So we need to have this as well. But in the older ANNOs, those values, they were somehow hidden and they were hard to, for you as a player, it was hard to work with them somehow and understand them properly. Now we really want to make them more visible and all these attributes should also
Warum ist Kartoffeln ein Tag des Streams nur für dich, Saatkartoffel?
And working in a similar fashion to some degree.
Yeah, so you really get a nice breakdown in the menu that shows you your fire chances minus 200 because you didn't build any fire stations or you built all
Ja,
these
Feuerwehren sind überbewertet, was soll ich dir sagen?
Exactly.
So you get the nice, much neater breakdown of these attributes now.
And you know what to change, which is much better than when it's a little bit like hazy.
But now you see, I mean, the headline talks about 8 attributes, so we have some more. But also here we are a bit nasty and we're gonna reveal them at the
Okay, noch ein bisschen Geheimniskrämerei bei den anderen
It's
Attributen.
fine. I totally respect that because
So blame Oli.
because
All right, sure.
we promise to introduce this in the future occasion. So actually,
Doing,
these
hey.
3 are the features we will introduce very soon.
Warte mal, wann es brennt, danach wird wieder abgerissen. So. So
All
nämlich.
right, then I think let's go for some examples of then answer some of the questions like, how do I get more population? What is the advantage of these of fulfilling everything? So let's look at some examples of what exactly these.
Was passiert hier? Wir schauen uns den Entwicklerstream an.
So we already early show you some shots about where we saw some beautiful fish, sardines, and as you see in this example, if you place sardine fishery, you will not only supply the need for sardines, but also this beautiful fish will earn you 1 population and 1 income, which is a beautiful thing.
Was?
It's very tiny fish, actually.
Yes.
Yeah, so that's maybe why, because it's a tiny fish, actually more
Wait,
feeding
what?
than porridge. So that's another good you can do. And maybe it's not that tasty, so no one is willing to pay too much for the porridge, but it's very feeding, yeah. And it's also a different thing because you need to now place the farm and
Das heißt, du kannst viel mehr auch noch darauf gehen, schwerpunktmäßig, was du erfüllst.
But it's actually very rewarding when it comes
Weil
to
das ist ja deine Choice am Anfang, ne?
And here also I think maybe
Dann kannst du sagen, gehst du auf mehr Einwohner oder gehst du auf die Balance zwischen Einwohner und Income? Also kannst du halt hier gucken, ne, was du pusht. Das ist nice.
And the porridge cooking, whatever building, how do we call it? I don't know. But you see it here. It's on the screenshot on the right. The porridge kitchen.
Porridge kitchen.
Yeah, maybe something like this. And so these are some decisions that you make or some choices, but you also can do further choices in the needs that you supply and in the attributes that you supply with this choice.
And again, just I think you mentioned it, but just to make it here, these are basically attributes applied to the residents.
Du kannst natürlich auch beides nehmen.
So if they're supplied with fish, they give you these specific attributes. If it's applied with both of them, they give you the combined attributes. And the same is obviously true also for public service buildings in their area. The need supply gives you these attributes respectively.
Exactly.
Komplex, ich würde sagen, es macht es eher ein bisschen einfacher erstmal.
Maybe as we adding now a lot of numbers to the ANNO game, also just be reassured this display is really supernatural. It's also nothing that is super in your face. While you play, you will discover this, and even if you don't understand all the details.
Ich glaube, wenn du einfach nur baust, wirst du auch schon völlig fein sein, ehrlich gesagt. Das ist halt wirklich so ein bisschen was wieder für Leute, die mehr
other
tüfteln
annos,
wollen.
there were always numbers. Maybe they were communicated differently, or it was like display. Even in Anno 1800 there were numbers, but you need to find them, and yeah.
Okay.
We brought another example.
Yes. Bit more complex now.
Yeah, because of course, the more complex the production chain for a good is, the
Yes.
higher the tier of a good is, the more attributes it gives you as well.
Exactly. Also, the more systems kick in and so on. And here we have another example for you. So,
Oh mein
here
Gott,
it's
wie
about
schön!
wine, and,
Wie schön schaut
so
das
the
denn
winery-
aus?
To produce wine, it's
Was
a
ist
so
das denn für ein
several-step
geiles
production,
Weinhaus-Dings?
that you need to set up.
Oh
And
mein
as you see
Gott!
here, wine generates a lot of money. It's a luxurious good that people really like, and they like to spend money. Also, it makes the people happy.
Oh mein Gott, wie gut schaut das
they,
bitte aus?
I mean, it's about fulfilling their needs and making them happy. This
Oh,
has an
ist
impact.
das geil,
And it will
Alter.
also feed here.
Schau mal, wie geil das
aussieht.
aussieht.
Soonish, but also show you. Another thing is also when you look at the values.
Oh
we are
mein
now
Gott.
at +3, so it's getting higher and higher. And
So ein
those
schönes
needs and
Gebäude.
those
Ich
decisions
pack's
will
gar
have a
nicht,
bigger
ey.
impact on your gameplay and on your gameplay experience.
Let's just tap into this because I've seen chat just reacting to it and already guessing what these might be. So if you want to guess what these attributes might be that are affected here,
Minus 1
positively and
Produktivität,
negatively by
ja.
one, let us know. There have been some guesses. +2 social, -1 awareness, +10 gorgeousness, -2
Kommt auch für
hangover.
Steam, ja. Kommt auch für Steam,
Happiness.
That's a
Blitzbirne.
good one, Jan.
I like -1 awareness.
Ist das Gameplay? Das ist so ein Screenshot. Das Gameplay
So
Reveal ist im
let us
Mai.
know. -1 productivity, intelligence. Okay.
Yeah, so
Metal
you notice
priest.
that they can be also minus. Yeah, that's really good. I think that overall they are beneficial, but not all the goods are like straightforward, only benefiting. Yeah,
Right.
In every category. Yeah.
And what I also like is with this addition, we also added more meaning to the products, and so it's not just simply about one stat that you fulfill. It's also a little bit of storytelling attached to them, yeah. Because when you drink wine, it has a certain impact on your society, and this is something we can also.
Kommt das
bring to the game.
25? Ich gehe schwer davon aus, ja.
Then,
Ich gehe schwer davon aus.
Let's continue further.
yeah, let's please.
Yeah. So actually, this is and the common question can be actually why I actually cannot do all of them if this is actually better. Well, this is an example because the other need in this category actually comes from another province, and it comes from the Albion, and it actually comes even from the Celtic population. So it's quite an endeavor to actually deliver the cheese, and definitely you cannot do all of that, but maybe also you need 100 hours to do that. Yeah. So in this case,
100 Stunden.
it's very different because you don't have to immediately run there and immediately deliver the cheese like it was in Anno 1800. You can also decide just to supply them with the wine and stay in that province. But if you go there and you deliver the cheese, it's also luxury good. It's quite exotic good here to have the cheese from the Albion. That's why it's also quite prestigious.
All right.
So also here the stats and so on, they are also inspired by history.
100
Some
Stunden,
of the
easy
goods
Woche.
that you
Easy
that you
Woche.
trade across your different provinces.
Landfass mal.
They were really exotic in the empire, and that's also something we wanted to reflect here.
So attributes can be decreased, someone says. And yes,
Yes.
Yes.
there are ways.
Okay.
Yeah. Mhm.
Items wissen
And
wir noch
some
nicht.
fans of cheese, yeah. in chat.
Gucken wir mal.
Perfect. Okay, so we talked about, well, basically the needs so far only, right? But it would be a shame if we just, stop with just the needs and the attributes, if we could push that a little bit further.
Kommt ein
And
Video?
This
Ja.
is now, when we said at the beginning, we're doing some
Ja,
changes,
auf
but we
jeden
also
Fall.
have a new feature.
Das Ganze
This is the new feature.
in voller Länge
Nice little new
natürlich.
feature with us, and it's
Auch.
building buffs, and because we
Auf dem
thought
Uncut-Kanal.
it's now cool. We have a super system that works really well. We have attributes attached to the needs, but why not also now attach those attributes to the buildings? We know that
Jetzt bin ich gespannt.
this was also a wish that we heard since a very long time. It popped up several times that it would be so cool if the way how I place my city, the residential areas, and my production buildings would have a higher impact. And because when you think about ANNO in the past, to some degree the city building aspect in certain areas was quite, I would say,
Season Pässe,
simple
wenn es
or
sich
quite-
genauso gut
quite
verkauft wie Anno
easy,
1800,
because
klar.
You place your residences in certain
Muss sich
patterns.
halt
and
verkaufen.
You place your public buildings in certain patterns, and then you have islands with production buildings or areas, production areas, and that's something where we try to identify, can we do something a bit more to make this a bit more exciting without destroying what our fans love? And we think we found something really cool. And so Jan, maybe you can go a bit into it. What
Jetzt
this
bin ich
means?
gespannt.
Yeah, so even it started with the public buildings because they are in a true sense a need. So for example, in Anno 1800 you need to build a market because it's a need. And we felt like, yeah, this will be simple. So market will also influence the surrounding buildings. But then we felt like it's kind of shame only to do for the needs. So we just said like, actually it should be true for any object we build. So what you can see on the picture, this is the on this picture actually. Oh, sorry, now
1 second.
Yeah, sorry. So this is a
There you
this is a head maker, and normally you can place the head maker also just in the
Ich
production.
liebe
sites,
schon, wie
but
schön das im Block gebaut
you
ist
can also
wieder.
decide to place it in a city, and if you place it in a city, of course it will take some space, and maybe you have to make sure that the production chain is also not that far, or that you have the warehouse nearby. But you see that actually Headmaker provides 1 coin actually to every house which is there. So if there are 10
Jedes
houses,
Haus.
you would generate 10 houses. It's because like the Liberties like want to buy their fancy heads like just directly from the shop.
At the source, yeah.
Like
Okay, das
visiting
heißt,
the
jedes
Nike shop and
Gebäude
just buying the new
hat
Nike shoes, yeah. So
Vor-
they're
oder
just buying
Nachteile
them
mit einer Range.
here, and that's what is generating you this extra money.
Yeah, and that's a really nice way to modify or streamline or fine-tune your city and so on. And
Das ist
it
genial.
offers also here, once again, new choices for you as a player, and that's something we really want to embrace.
Positive comments here in chat.
Kein Block-Layout-Challenge. Ja, das
Nice,
wird
that's
schwer.
Cool. Finally,
Das wird
Really
schwer,
good
weil dadurch
change.
ist Blockbauen massiv
Awesome.
im Vorteil, wenn Gebäude
meaningful layout
Vorteile
changes,
bringen.
yay. So yeah, I think this
Cool.
seems
That's
to be
what
the
we
right.
wanted to achieve.
Glaubt ihr, dass der
and,
Ubikos wieder
yeah,
steigt?
Guess,
Naja, nicht
you
durch
were right
Anno.
when you said the community wanted that.
Then we keep it.
Durch Anno.
So we can't wait to see what you will do. But we
just-
have another example.
Yeah, I just wanted to
Ja, wenn
highlight
ihr was nicht versteht,
just
fragt
because
ruhig,
the
ne?
Because the next example, you also have these wonderful green arrows. So you immediately see which buildings are affected
Yeah.
in the vicinity, and then you have these nice green arrows that show you this is
Okay,
a
das
positive
heißt, man
effect.
klickt auf das
On the
Haus und
building, it
sieht
tells you what
dann,
effect it
welche
is, but you
anderen
at least
Häuser
first
abgedeckt
see
sind durch den
first,
grünen
okay,
Pfeil.
positive.
Yes.
Because on the next example,
We see something which is really terrible. If you place the coal maker
Und jetzt sieht
next
man
to
hier,
the residences, I mean, it's a very
ein anderes
smelly,
Gebäude hat wieder
smoky
Nachteile.
building. The people hate it around it, and so
wenn man
if you
es
do
in der
something-
Nähe von
something
Gebäuden
like this,
platziert,
then
also
you will see
Wohngebäuden.
that the health will decrease of your population, and also the risk of fire will be higher. And so, yeah, be careful if you do this. Of course, you can cope it with other tools that you have, but yeah, it's just something that you should consider, and this adds a nice twist
Köhler,
and,
genau.
and a challenge also for you as a player.
It's also about the density. So
Yes.
if you manage to have less buildings in the vicinity of the coal burner, you will not suffer so much.
Yep.
Ideally, you will have none if possible, but sometimes it's quite tricky.
Und jetzt kannst du
as
aber,
we said earlier, it affects all buildings. So these buildings multiply the effect
Yes.
essentially. Per building, you get -3 on the fire.
Even pig farms.
jetzt ist halt die Frage, werden Produktionsgebäude untereinander sich auch beeinflussen?
And now,
Das
more
ist halt
exciting,
die
we have
Frage.
two-colored arrows.
Yeah, we felt like we should also do this because we also like to create this kind of real choice. So if it's just positive or if it's just negative, it's quite simple what to do. And this is a case of hybrid, which is a bakery.
Yes.
And bakeries were also
Bäckerei.
very well known in
Karl
the
müssten
ancient
genutzt
Rome.
werden.
That they caused actually a significant
Sasuno
amount of
moin.
fires. But they also generate money because it's
Das war so eine Excel-Tabelle
Fresh
incoming,
bread,
Alter.
Everyone loves bread.
yeah, everyone wants to buy it, and you see actually now it's a compromise. So you can earn more money.
Ey, die Tabelle
You
wird
also
glühen,
increase your
Sasuno.
fire risk. So
wird
either you
glühen.
decide to move them out of your city, or you keep them. Actually, now we in the team, I think it's 60-40.
Yes.
So 40% they placing the bakery in the city, and I'm one of them. And the 60% they actually
Nero
have,
findet das gut, die Bäckereien
yes.
in der Stadt zu platzieren. Was
So
ist
it's
schon
really
ein
up to
bisschen...
you. And of course, for
Feuerrisiko.
everything that we showed to you today, there will be other
ja, Sasuno
features,
ist so,
other tools
wo
to
Feuerwehr explodiert.
counterbalance those decisions that you make. But it's really adds a lot and makes even placing a building more meaningful and more exciting in the game.
Yeah, and just to answer that question, because this goes directly here, will production buildings influence other production buildings or just the houses?
Will influence pretty much everything.
Exactly.
Geil.
That's also something we tried, by the way. Yeah? So, I mean,
Okay,
until we got to this
Produktionsgebäude
point, we tried out
beeinflussen
all the
sich
different
auch
variations
gegenseitig.
And, in the end, we felt, hey, let's
Das
do
ist
this for
Puzzeln pur,
everything,
Alter.
because it felt like the right choice. And when you play it, you will also feel that it was a good decision.
So you can even place, for example, the market in the middle of
Das
your
ist
fields,
genial.
and the farmers will still buy the things on the market. It's
Das
maybe just
ist
not that many
genial.
farms as you can have the residences around.
Oh mein Gott. Das ist wirklich big,
Okay,
weil
let me
damit
just
kannst du
quickly
auch
check. I'm just scanning
Produktionsgebäude
but you
nur
can
bauen,
already-
um andere
because I think
Produktionsgebäude zu
we
beeinflussen.
we covered all the 3 topics you wanted to cover. There's still some points you want to touch on, a bit of like,
Das ist einfach nur ein Puzzlespiel, ja.
yeah,
Das wird noch richtig
summary
schönes
and a bit of
Puzzle.
like an overview. But so this is the time I'll keep an eye on chat. But just let us go through some of these topics first, and then we'll think we do a dedicated 5 to 10 minute Q&A segment at the end. So hold your questions for now, and you can ask them in like when we tell you, hey, this is now the Q&A section. All right. So we run you through all these 3 the topics, the optional needs that are giving your that directly, that where it gives you choice.
Yes.
Then that results in the attributes, or we have the attributes that are connected to needs, and the attributes are also connected to the building buffs. So if we go back to the very first point, the optional needs again.
Ja,
for
das
me
wird
as a
unsere
player,
Aufgabe sein, Sasuno.
we talked that as choice. It's something we give them. It's not a big change, but we give them more choice in what they want to do, and this goes through all the population tiers, right?
Yes, exactly. Yeah. And so this offers, choices for you. It's up to make your decisions, to define your strategy and your challenges, and also your identity to some extent. You can make the decision if you want to go for full or minimum supply, and all of this have then different also other bonuses or an impact on the whole gameplay experience. And optional needs will also unlock things like it's up to you when you want to reach out to a new province, for example, and when you are ready for the steps. And also it softens the point where you need to go to a new island, for example. So, and we feel it feels very good because it's your decision. If you feel ready, you do this step, compared to 1800, where you were forced at a certain moment to do such things, or the progression has stopped for you.
It was very hard for us to, in every game, to find a sweet spot, because there are some people who likes to do a lot, there are some people who wants to be casual. And basically with that linearity, we had only one point to choose in between, and now it's like the people can actually worry more.
And specifically when you earlier went through the cheese in Albion, which obviously is more difficult. You need to settle this in another province. You need to import something first. This is also a matter of like, you as a player have now the choice to pick your difficulty to a degree. Like you can.
Ja, aber dafür gibt's ja Streams, die reagieren, Final Fantasy. Also falls euch irgendwas unklar ist oder so, ne, fragt gerne nach.
Try to fulfill all the needs, go ahead, build all the buildings, go everywhere, produce everything. But if you like, I just want to progress through the game and see what the game offers to me, there is this still perfectly normal, perfectly fine way of just producing one of the goods, moving on, fulfilling the next need, moving on, and not challenging you to produce every single need, because they're getting more complex later on. Right, and then we talk about like obviously the impact bit on the game structure. So we just already touched on the province topic.
Ich würde gerne noch ein paar mehr Screenshots sehen.
Earlier mentioned, hey, this can help us like just structuring the game and the progression a bit for the player.
Yes, because it's not only about when do you settle to a new province. It's also, I mean, we already announced that.
To click once more for the animation, I think.
It's already, I mean, we announced at the beginning when we revealed the game that you can also choose your start position in Sandbox. All of this is only possible because of optional needs and the systems that we just
genau, das spielt natürlich rein, ne? Dass du am Anfang deine Startposition frei auswählen kannst.
And also when we look into the future, the system will allow us also to add new things to the game more easily. Und damit kannst du natürlich dann auch mit neuen DLCs und neuen Season Pässen und so auch einfach neue, weitere optionale Güter hinzufügen. Das ist halt schon genial, wenn du halt irgendwie Ägypten dann zum Beispiel dazu nimmst. Dann machst du einfach nur ein weiteres optionales Gut dazu.
So what you can do already, and we introduced that, is like you can even, for example, start in Albion in this Celtic region and never go to Italy. And maybe if we do also in the post-launch the new provinces, I'm not saying this is the case 100%, but if we do, then maybe you can even combine them as you like. Yeah, so it means that, for example, you never have to go to Italy and you can combine.
Du kannst es dir ungefähr so vorstellen wie in Anno 1800,
It will create a lot of combinations actually, and
dass du
the order is
nie in
up
die
to
neue
you.
Welt musst.
You don't have to go there in
Oder
a
nie.
specific order, so there is much more freedom actually.
Also das ist schon geil, ne? Das wäre so, wie wenn du in Anno 1800 zum Beispiel im Land der Löwen starten könntest und nie die Notwendigkeit hättest, in die alte Welt zu gehen.
And so then just the
Das
last
ist schon
topic of
genial.
the building buffs. This is the really new stuff. The rest is only in quotation mark. Obviously, it's more than just only a change to the existing system, but this is where things change. And I think this is where players will have a lot of fun figuring out, because you need to suddenly your production buildings there, but you also need to have warehouses there and the transport. I think I remember that was in the passageway. There was
Yes.
a bit that topic because you didn't have as much space, so you
Yeah.
needed to combine it a bit more. So this was already like a trickier puzzle, so to say.
Yeah.
And this is obviously puzzling is a bit of the fun, I would say, in
Yes.
Anno 117 Pax Romana as well.
Absolutely. So now, for the first time, it really matters where you place every building or all the buildings and so on. That's really something nice. I just want to stress that although it's all of this feels very natural. Yeah. So because we're talking a lot of innovations here and a lot of micro details or adjustments that we made. But yeah, once you will try it out, you will see.
Ja, ich
it
glaube,
really feels
der
well.
normale Spieler wird keinen Unterschied
And,
merken.
That's really something where we work very careful.
Der normale Anno Casual wird wahrscheinlich einfach so bauen, es wird immer noch alles
important to know,
funktionieren.
yeah.
Internal and external game tests, so we know that the people still saying it's pretty much Anno. It plays like Anno. It's just like I have more freedom.
Yeah. No, I think that's worth pointing out. Obviously, I've seen many questions about
Ich bin der
tests that you
normale
can sign up
Anno-Spieler,
for.
ja,
These,
eben,
these hadn't
deswegen.
happened yet. We didn't send any invites yet, so stay tuned. They will happen, and we'll send invites and let you know. But there have already been tests, as we've I think mentioned before, like smaller scale tests that you said involves also the game. The team here
Das dachte ich mir
plays
halt
and
schon.
tested the game in regular intervals. That basically showed, this is very much an Anno game. By going by
Ich dachte
the
mir schon,
feedback
dass
from
es schon die
you,
ganzen
because I've
Tests
seen
gab.
names
Gab
in
halt nur
chat
nicht so
that
viele
have
Invites.
already played the game. So before we do in the Q&A part, there's that one thing. Well, like we told it always. We had the lifestyle needs and happiness needs and normal needs, and then we have optional needs.
Yeah.
Is that the final name?
That's maybe the thing which really didn't go right, because we were always discussing how we should name them.
We wanted to come up with a super fancy name to sell this to the team and to everyone, and
And no one liked the optional needs really, and everyone was saying we need to find different name.
I think we suck in coming up.
But no one actually proposed
names.
the better name, so we somehow got lazy and we call it optional needs. Even the people say how they are optional.
Ja,
if I
wo
have to
Anno
use
Shirts?
one,
Ich will die
it's
haben.
Maybe not perfectly fitting name and so on. So we had a lot of discussion. At some point, it was like, whatsoever, we stick to that.
Exactly.
All right, then let me take a look at chat. So now I can give you. I know you've kept asking questions, but now I think let's say 5 to 10 minutes we have approximately, where you can drop some questions. I'll forward the ones that are relevant for today's talking points. So and then we'll see how many information we can still get out of the both of you. Will people in the city be able to help extinguish fires like in Anno, in previous Annos? I guess they mean without a fire service, like just by themselves.
I'm not sure how much we can give away right now, but there will be buildings that you can place that help you to prevent or get active when there's a city on fire.
I would say you can extinguish the fires, but you can also prevent the fires.
Yes.
That's I think there was another question earlier. I forgot the name. I'm so sorry. That on like, okay, this is a negative attribute. Can I counter this? And of
Yes.
course you can count this. If it gives you less happiness, there are other buildings that have happiness attributes as a bonus. And the same with fire. We already mentioned fire station. These help.
There will be buildings and so on, but there will be also other features that influence those attributes, and we will talk about them at some point.
It's also not that easy that everything goes smooth. Like as the city grows, this also creates the challenges. So it's
Ich hatte
not
mal
only about
gefragt, ob es ein Limit
but
gibt
also
von Produktionsgebäuden.
It's also,
Sonst kannst du einfach
we don't
50
mind if there's a
Markthallen
single
bauen
fire in the city.
und hast dann einfach
it's part of
400
city
Gold
building,
dazu
it's part of
bekommen.
Antiquity, but yeah, there will
Ich
be
könnte mir natürlich auch gut
countermeasures
vorstellen, dass es so einen Boost pro Gebäude gibt. Sonst gleichst ich dir alles zu. Das ist halt
Okay,
schon.
let me see. There's so many questions that are like not related to today's topic.
So we need to do more streams.
If you need to do
Mehr
more streams. I
Streams.
mean, I think we very much will be doing more streams. The question on like, okay, Release Date 2025.
Genau, nur noch
is
Märkte und ein
communicated,
Haus, ja.
hasn't changed.
So das Gebäude,
How
das den
Tier
größten
3
Population
apartments
Boost
will look
hat,
like.
outplayed
That's also
einfach die
topic
Häuser
for me.
selber.
So you will see how.
Das ist
how
so
the-
ein Haus in der Mitte
how
der
the
Stadt.
other populations look
50
like and
Produktionsdinger
how they
außen drum.
function, what the needs are. This will all be like be revealed in the coming weeks and months. There's just some nice greetings and nice well wishes and everything from the chat as well.
Thank you.
That's nice, thank you.
If production buildings can influence the population nearby, would that not decrease the possible number of residences in the public building area?
Well, the more the other buildings you place, the more you lower the number of residences. That's for sure. So it's not like that straightforward. That always placing means
Deko mit
it's
Buff, ja.
just purely
Oh mein
beneficial.
Gott, das ist eine
Sometimes
gute
it's also
Frage.
like the space management and. For example, sometimes you not need to even think about like to have the field nearby, and this is limiting you, or to have the warehouse in the city. So it's something for something.
Das ist
And,
eine gute
although
Frage.
The attributes or the building buffs, they have a significant impact on for you to modify certain things.
Gameplay im Mai.
Even if you
Gameplay
don't
1.
care.
Mai.
I mean, you should care about them, but still you can place, and there's a lot of player freedom for you as a player.
Das ist eine sehr gute Frage,
without
Staffi, da.
optimizing it will
ganzen
not
Schönbauer.
dictate the whole gameplay. Let's put it like that.
What is important to say, you can also play ANNO 1800. You can
Yes.
really place these productions outside of the city and so
Imagine, Decorations haben einen
maybe
Money
it's,
Buff.
not the best
Plötzlich
way,
jeder
like
Effizienzbauer
So
einfach
you
in
still
den
get
Schönbauer mutiert.
the building buff from it. So even if you place your production buildings outside
Exactly.
like you used to, you still get the
Fulfilling the
Yeah.
need will just provide the
yeah.
attributes.
the head maker will still influence the sheep farms around it with the
Exactly.
income bonus because they're getting their hats then from the head maker, even
Yeah.
if you put it somewhere else. Yeah.
Yeah, so like I said, with all of this, we really tried also that even if you don't understand the systems behind it, you can enjoy the game. It's more about optimizing it and exploring the game then deeper at the later stage that you really then can tweak everything and
Viele Klohäuschen, ja.
Another question, which I think is a straightforward one: are we still able to see the exact production times of production chains? So I can still
Yes.
measure how long
Yes.
it takes. Yeah.
yes.
That was from Pommesbrötchen.
Greetings.
Nice name.
Wait, now the chat jumped. There was something about the limit to.
Eine oder zwei Kampagnen. So wie ich es verstanden habe, eine. Aber mit Auswahl quasi.
Still excitement. We didn't talk about decorations yet. There's a question if they also provide a buff. Is there something you want to?
something
answer?
we should maybe talk later. But there is something to talk about.
Yeah, let's do a beauty building conversation at some point and
Yeah.
Okay.
I've
Okay.
seen there. We have some ornaments now. I've seen, so it's you can.
Also da kommt was, Freunde. Gute Frage, Staffis. Da kommt was. Wieder ein bisschen was rausgekitzelt.
Bit of silly question, he says, or they say.
Okay,
Can you
okay,
answer
okay.
which building is your
Da
favorite?
kommt was für die
out of
Dekos.
the 100
Okay.
or whatever
Okay.
buildings. Yeah.
I
gespannt.
cannot because it's actually out of the scope and it's also surprise for you. But from those buildings,
Grüße gehen raus am
we
Piro an
just,
der Stelle.
Introduce. I really like the bakery.
same for me. Yeah.
Okay, I would have gone with the vineyard.
Ah, okay.
I like the feeling of the No.
No, the vineyard is a beautiful building, but I like the story and the twist and the, let's say, the choice that you make with the bakery.
I was looking.
Yeah.
I was more at the visual side of things, and you
Yeah.
went for the gameplay aspect. Fair enough. Yes.
The
Also
visuals are
das-
so great. It was very clear that we need bread.
Das Weingut
Because
bisher
these golden
absolutes
fields,
Highlight-Gebäude.
they are
beautiful.
Der Screenshot von heute. So schön.
Some more people from the team here. Hi Björn. Nice to see you in chat. Questions about Asterix.
Wird sich alles buffen, ja.
We're still thinking about it.
There are some Asterix fans in the team,
Yes.
I think. So
We cannot say, but we had Santa in Arctic in ANNO 18.
Es wird ein Easter Egg mit Asterix geben, 100%. Da wette ich meinen Arsch drauf.
do the production buildings give the needs to the houses close by?
Once again,
if the production buildings also fulfill the needs of the houses.
Absolutely, yeah. That works the same. So,
but only if you produce them. If the production building produces
yeah,
something.
the production building has to produce something because if it's not producing, if you don't produce the bread, and it's basically the production is staying. The good positive thing is, you will have no more fires, but you will also not get money, yeah? Because they just don't bake the
Genau,
bread.
also es muss schon, das Gebäude muss
But I
schon
think
aktiv sein, damit du halt den Boost
works the same
bekommst,
way as
logisch.
in the previous games, as that if you have the goods, if you produce the goods and they're in a warehouse, the needs gets fulfilled. So it doesn't. It's not connected to if it's close to the production building.
So the need might be supplied, but that bakery will stop to work and will stop to have the effect.
But the buff that the building gives, independent of the need, is the one
Ey,
that
Commander
you're getting.
Shepard,
So
du
you're
darfst doch nicht
getting
vergessen, der Großteil der
basically
Spieler ist Casual.
if you fill bread need, the people
Denen
give
ist
you
sowas wie Buffs und
not sure what
effizient bauen
the
egal.
stats are of bread, but you get the bonus through fulfilling the need. And if they are then the house is on top of that, is close to the bakery as well, they get on top of that, they get the building buff from the bakery.
Aber hier in
right?
diesem Stream wird nicht krumm gebaut, das kann ich dir gleich sagen.
Yes.
Das mache ich vielleicht für Demo-Zwecke, aber
Because
das
I know how
kostet
they
Platz,
chat.
hallo?
There was a question if you have items in the game.
Was even hard to follow for me.
It's sometimes it would be probably easier with like
Just play it.
gameplay. Can we just switch to gameplay? No. Items. I think that's something you already mentioned in the video at the IGN thing. There will be items, more on that and some other topics later.
Ich bin halt gespannt, wie das mit den Items reinspielt in die Buffs. Weil die Buffs sind ja im Endeffekt auch schon eine Art Item.
We will discuss it in the future.
Aber
I think this and some other topics, it's also worth mentioning. We have these nice, stickers on the screenshots here all the time. It like work in progress. That obviously also goes for designs and balancing values. So if we later decide, you know what, that bakery needs a +5 fire chance because +2 is just like a -2 is just too harmless. We need -5. Then this might still happen. So don't take this as like this.
Ja, es kommt aufs Building Model an, Sasuno, ne? Die haben ja schon gesagt, dass schiefe Gebäude teilweise mehr Platz brauchen.
And so things might change. Also the more feedback we're gonna receive,
wird man dann sehen müssen, ne?
We learn about the game, so there will be definitely adjustments to everything that we present to you. But that's the current state of development, and we wanted to share it with you.
Sehr geil. Bin gespannt. Ey, im Mai gibt's Reveal.
Right. As I said, like we will not answer or like not talk about topics that are not part of the scope of today's stream. This is specifically about this, and some other topics we'll touch on very soon. So it doesn't make sense to tell you now that we can't talk about it yet, because as I said, if you didn't mark it in your calendar yet, it's the week of May 19th where we'll have a gameplay reveal, a lot more information,
Ab in den
features,
Kalender damit.
including the question marks that you've seen on the attribute slide earlier. So this is all gonna come. It's just not coming today.
Ab in den Kalender damit,
in a
Freunde
few
der
weeks'
Sonne.
time. It's actually almost exactly a month at this point.
1 month
so.
to go.
Ein
then you
Monat
will
noch,
know
dann
much
gibt's
more.
Gameplay Reveal. Let's go.
So that's okay. So exactly. So it doesn't matter where the bread is produced. It's not going by storage. It's
Wenig
going
Inhalt
by
für einen
islands.
Stream, das finde ich nicht. Das finde ich nicht. Ich finde, die Erwartungshaltung ist eher ein bisschen arg. Wir haben ja noch nicht mal den Gameplay-Reveal und man erwartet hier schon krasse Reveals und Infos und alles. Also es ist halt ein schönes Anteasen, aber es wird ja auch immer noch entwickelt, das Spiel. Also da sollte man, finde ich, auch die Erwartungshaltung managen. Ne? Wir haben ja noch nicht mal ein Release-Datum. Von daher in der Woche vom 19. Mai. Datum kommt noch. Werner, danke dir.
So we are sitting here and we are like, oh, we want to tell you more, we want to show you more. Just a few more weeks.
It's not like we don't want to. We just know that it has sometimes a bigger impact to do things at certain times and prepare it properly. That's why like this stream is just focused on very specific
topics. Sie müssen natürlich auch ihren Impact maximieren, wie sie selber schon sagen, ne?
Event is focusing on other specific
Anno,
topics. It makes it much easier
für Anno ist schon sehr wichtig, das Maximum rauszuholen. Die haben nicht dasselbe Werbebudget wie ein Assassin's Creed.
Not like about 10 different things.
It's also about giving the other people opportunity to, for example, present those specific features. So it's also because it's also part of their
Genau,
work,
Anno hat
for
bisher
example,
immer geliefert.
So it's also
Von daher.
to talk about everything here.
There was a question, can we show some images of the game from earlier in the stream? I mean, we could go back, but the question is what exactly you wanted to see.
Anno ist nicht größer als Assassin's Creed. What?
We can go back to some of the screenshots maybe earlier or from when we talked about the optional needs. It's a few slides back. Thank you, Manu.
Bam.
Yeah, maybe if you want to, Darius, if you could just switch, thank you. Then we can look at this nice screenshot again, if that's what you were looking for, Poseidon.
I think, Olli, you built it up yesterday, was it?
Yeah.
It's beautiful.
Thank you.
Wunderschön. Es schaut wirklich geil aus.
A bit on a second screenshot, so this one actually looks like the...
Oh, we are revealing more needs and resources here on the left.
Kinda, but it's technically, I think we already seen, I think it's all tier 2 needs here. So everything that's shown here has also been on the slide previously when we had all the icons there. So I think that's
geil.
It's not that big of a
Wunderschön.
surprise. There's a question on buff stacking. So if will the buffs from buildings nearby stack if you have multiple of the same nearby?
I think that the answer is a little bit more complicated. Something stacks, for example, fire chances, but something might not.
Only the negative ones.
So we felt like maybe 2 bakeries actually can increase double the fire chance, while the people would only choose one of the bakery to go and spend.
Okay, das heißt, positive Sachen stacken unter Umständen nicht, negative auf jeden Fall.
10 bakeries.
Macht ja auch Sinn.
Spend all the money, so. But the fires might, yeah.
Okay, das heißt, Beispiel Bäckerei, Geld wird nicht hochgesteckt, Feuer hat Risiko schon.
Assuming we would do more content in post-launch, there is exactly this system would exactly allow these kind of things that we could expand the category with spacesuits. If we did a spacesuit DLC, then they could ask for spacesuits in there in this fashion category, for example. And this could just be integrated, and you can decide if you want to fulfill that need or not.
Exactly, and because I mean, it's really, we know that you guys you're asking for more buildings, more production chains, more needs, and yeah, with this system, we believe we have a good foundation to deliver this more easily for you, but also for us during development.
Yeah, also like that system better says the story. Yeah, so it's also like when you see these attributes, you can better rely to the need or understand how the need is actually working, or what does it bring to your population or society.
It helps us also to be a bit more granular in certain things. So, for example, we could introduce certain type of fish instead of just having fish like in 1800, where one good or almost occupied a certain need or categories. You have issues with your microphone, Jan?
Like somehow dropping. Yeah, I think you know how to fix it perfectly.
Right. I think we're really nearing the end of the stream, also because I think both of you have a meeting after this.
Yes.
So
no.
very quickly, I think we should have clarified. I think that the fire.
Ja, es geht ja nicht darum, dass Anno unbedeutend ist. Es geht nur darum, dass Leute teilweise
just for clarification,
so denken, dass Anno jetzt die Zukunft von Ubisoft entscheidet, und das ist es halt nicht. Ne?
Not so cool.
Das ist es halt nicht.
Alright, then I would say this is the end of the stream, kinda. Again, highlighting, we'll have May 19th, if not marked.
Also, die Woche vom 19. Mai,
19th,
Gameplay Reveal.
This week is the one you should absolutely mark in your calendars. We make sure that you won't miss it, of course, but this is the big Gameplay Reveal week. Lots more information on more features, and obviously gameplay. So this is the time you should be looking forward to. We also have until then more dev, and after, of course, more dev blogs coming up, including dev blogs that are covering the topics that we talked about today. So we get them in writing as well. Sorry, wrong camera. Hello. The dev blogs that you get that stuff in writing as well, with some more details on the stuff that maybe we haven't covered yet because we were thinking it was a bit too nerdy for the stream, and we rather kept it like this. So you find it in the blogs. So you find more of this.
Ich werde wahrscheinlich auch ein bisschen den Blog abwarten für das Video.
Reminder, you can still sign up for the beta tests, and we'll make absolutely sure that you're not missing when we're sending out the invites. So
okay, ihr könnt euch immer noch anmelden.
When these are being sent out.
Ihr könnt euch immer noch anmelden für die Beta-Tests.
Then you can still wishlist our game on your platform choice. You matter if you play on PC
auch
or
auf Steam.
console, and whatever platform on PC you prefer, you can still wishlist our game.
Kennst auch auf Ubisoft. Auf Ubisoft übrigens auch mit Code Radlerauge, wenn es dann soweit ist, 1 Cent sparen.
I think
True story.
that's about it. Do you have any closing words from you two?
wish it.
No, but it was really fun, and I can't wait to reveal more of the game. So
Yeah, cool.
1 month to go.
All right, then thank you, Manu.
Ein Monat noch bis Gameplay Reveal.
Thank you, Darius, for work behind the camera. Thank you to Andrea and Yaro for keeping an eye on chat and making sure everyone behaves. Yeah.
Geil.
Until next time, I would say bye-bye.
Bye. Okay. Also, Freunde. Ich würde nach wie vor, auch nach diesem Stream wieder, Folgendes vermuten. Ich würde vermuten, dass wir eine Release-Ankündigung auf der Gamescom bekommen dieses Jahr. Würde vermuten, dass wir einen Release angekündigt bekommen für den 7.11. und dann eine Open Beta für den Oktober oder so. Das wäre immer noch meine Vermutung, das wäre immer noch meine Prediction. Ich glaube aber trotzdem, dass wir schon im Mai einiges sehen werden vom Game. Mit dem Gameplay-Reveal. Das wäre so meine Prediction aktuell. Das ist die pessimistische Prediction. Ich bin sowieso schon überrascht, dass so früh schon in Testphasen, in Gameplay-Reveal und sonst was gegangen wird. Was halt für mich auch auf jeden Fall deutlich dafür spricht, dass wir dieses Spiel noch dieses Jahr bekommen. Ein optimistischer Weg wäre zu sagen, es kommt am 11.07. und es ist im Endeffekt schon ready to go. Da bin ich halt nicht so ganz dabei, weil ich mir halt auch denke, es wird immer wieder gesagt, dass noch in Development. Die ganzen Screenshots sind auch alle Work in Progress. Also ich glaube schon, dass da immer noch heftig aktiv entwickelt wird an dem ganzen Zeug. Aber ich glaube trotzdem, dass wir es noch dieses Jahr sehen. Ja? Also ich für meinen Teil würde sagen 7.11. Das wäre so mein Guess. Announcement für den Release dann am August. Und ja, das wäre auf jeden Fall meine Prognose. So. Aber wir werden sehen, ne? Wir werden sehen. Erstmal gibt es ja natürlich auch noch das Gameplay Reveal im Mai. Es gibt noch den Beta-Test, zu dem die Invites ja immer noch nicht raus sind, zu dem großen zumindest. Das würde man wahrscheinlich mitbekommen. Von daher könnt ihr euch immer noch anmelden. Das würde ich euch auf jeden Fall empfehlen. Wir haben aber heute schon ganz viele wichtige Infos bekommen. Ich werde dazu auch noch ein Video machen. Auf dem Hauptkanal, da bekommt ihr das Ganze dann nochmal aufgearbeitet, aber dafür warte ich noch auf den Dev-Blog, denn da wurde ja auch schon gesagt, dass noch ein paar weitere Nerdy-Infos kommen und diese Nerdy-Infos will ich natürlich auch mit aufarbeiten, damit ihr halt eine schöne Übersicht habt. Wie immer, kurz und knackig auf dem YouTube-Kanal, leicht verständlich aufgearbeitet, das wird auch keine Stunde dauern. Ich denke mal, das werde ich so auf unter 10 Minuten alles reinkriegen können, wie gewohnt. Dieses ganze VOD hier wird es natürlich auch im Nachgang auf dem Radler Uncut-Kanal geben in voller Länge. Da könnt ihr dann auch nochmal durch die Gegend klicken.